questioned Samia Suluhu Hassan's style of governance. And when she was the vice president, her position in Tanzania, that is owed more to tokenism than anything else. I mean, so politically insignificant. And merely people say it was accidental, unelected when she succeeded Magufuli, the fastest on the ballot when she faced the people. And she had many prejudices to overcome. Her sex, her faith, and also her place of birth coming from the Zanzibar. Archipelago of Zanzibar. But has she matched up the expectations to the extent, if then the Europeans today were to look back at the chancellorship of Angela Merkel, what lessons can the women leadership and the folk draw from today if we are to juxtapose those two examples?
We are living very interesting times when Africa is beginning to open up to women leadership. We looked at Namibia, you looked at what happened in Sierra Leone, even in Ethiopia, we had a president there. The record of women in those countries is very high. Like in Liberia, you know, Sheriff Johnson did a wonderful job in rehabilitating a country that was coming from war. The reason is, from a historical perspective, in ancient Egypt, after every 4 men's rule of 4 men in succession, they would always insist on a woman to bring some soft power into the leadership. You
so dilute the men's
because men in war and all that, you bring you bring in some softness to society. That's how people like Queen Hatshepsut and you know, others came to power to be queens in Egypt. And even those who have deep knowledge about African history, they get a lot of examples after Shaka Zulu and whatever, the successor. Women are always known to bring some sanity and some softness to society. And I think that is what we expected of the fastest Suluhu. So Suluhu 1 was that humanizing aspect to us. So we didn't care about her credentials. We didn't care where she came from. The only thing we know is that she's going to bring some motherhood and softness of the lady. But apparently now this Simba Jike is beginning to display worse traits than even men. And I think that's really a negative turn. Here we have our own. Look at what Mother Karua is doing in the region. This morning, she flies into Uganda to represent BCJ. This morning. The other week, before, you know, she was there again, and she has been in Tanzania. You've seen the experience. She was in Senegal. She was part of the team that was really struggling against President Macky Sall. Now, in this particular case, we need to generalize about this. Suluhu is a very specific case. And she comes from an area which also have a bad history, first of blaming foreigners for their own internal affairs. This is Zanzibar. You remember they blamed the 1964 revolution to one John Okello, who they said he's the one who led the revolution in Tanzania, I mean in Zanzibar. You know, so it's a history of externalizing responsibility, scapegoating literally, you know, that it is this. Suluhu knows that for Kenyans to go to Tanzania in their hordes and do what we saw happening, it must be a kind of a huge kind of operation, possibly guided by the Kenyan military and others, the way they did in Uganda in the 1980s. But because there is that old thing of blaming, there's a problem. I think what Suluhu does not know, you may not change the constitution, you may not do anything, she'll try to sit tight for the next 5 years. But the truth of the matter is that Tanzania itself is already burning. Take it from me. And I wish our sister country well. I have a lot of friends there at all levels. But it is good that we speak the truth to power. And speaking the truth to power is, we have Hassan we have Hassan Mwinyi, the son of the former president, as president in Zanzibar. And you have a dictator from Zanzibar in the mainland. It's not a good equation. Two Zanzibaris who has a bad history, but Mwinyi at least was softer after Nyerere, but he didn't help Tanzania to move. He never helped even an inch Tanzania to move towards a more accountable, a more progressive society. And therefore, the real thing is what they call in Tanzania, I've said this before, kero za muungano.
Kero za muungano.
Kero za muungano. The pains of the union. Okay. Now, ask the mainland Tanzania, Mtanganyika, ask him or her where he or she is today in terms of thinking about the nationality. A normal Tanzanian who is from the mainland is now feeling the whole weight of an island dictating and tyrannizing their country. That's the pain.
Yes, Dr.